The NFL preseason officially starts today, and we will be making predictions on how each team does in terms of their division for this next year. This is a very early prediction. I'm going to be wrong, and you know what? That's okay. Not everything is going to be right. It's a prediction. Either way, before we get into this video, let me remind you, check out W.GG and use code SHREDDER for 10% off your order of anything on their website. Code SHRD3R for anything on their website. 10% off, or you can click the link down in the description. Either way, let's get right into this video. We'll get started in the AFC and go by division here. So let's go ahead and take a look at, let's start with the AFC East. That's the Bills, the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Jets. So I'm going to go ahead and say Patriots are going to be fourth. I don't think we're shocking anybody here by saying that. I don't think they're going to be necessarily terrible. I think Drake May is the guy for them. To me, he's the second best quarterback in this draft class. But we have to see it from him. We have to see more. I think he starts by midseason, for sure. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind. You know, I have a feeling that because of Jacoby Brissett got this weird amount of, he's a really good bridge quarterback, the best bridge quarterback you could have. I have a feeling he's going to be terrible. Don't really have any reason for that, but just think so. And then I'm going to say the Dolphins finish third. Now, the 3-2-1 race will be very, very close. So there's going to be quite the gap between 3 and 4, in my opinion. They could be a 10-win third-place team, for sure. That could happen for sure. I think the Jets are going to finish second, and the Bills finish first. I think the Bills have a really good team coming around them. I do think they got a lot of addition by subtraction this year by losing a guy like Stephon Diggs. I think, yeah, he's a great player. He did take a step back, but not only are you off the books of him now in terms of financials, you're also losing a very big ego and personality in that locker room. You're getting, Mac Hollins, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman, MVS, these guys who don't have the same ego. Well, MVS kind of has an ego, but anyways, that's a big part. I think the Jets, very, very close second. And then I think a small gap, like a game and a half back, will be the Dolphins. That's how that division wraps up. Going to the AFC South, I'm going to be honest with you. The AFC South is probably the toughest division to do this for. I don't really exactly know what I want to do here. All I do know is I just don't see a way the Titans finish outside of fourth. I just can't really put that together right now. I like Will Levis a lot. That's my only concern of how they could finish here. It would be the Colts finishing last and them finishing third. But right now, I think the Titans are going to finish last. And that's only if Anthony Richardson plays really bad. That's the only way I can reason that. Or he gets hurt again and, they don't have a Gardner Minshew to really kind of save their season. So, assuming Anthony Richardson, we see what, we thought he was going to be from last year in the few games we saw him, I think the Titans have to finish last. It's going to be a close division. I don't think it's going to be close in the same way these guys are. All these guys, in my opinion, with health are like legit-ish Super Bowl contenders-ish. Loosely, let me say that. I don't think this Jaguars, Texans, Colts is super, they're not contenders, but they're playoff contenders potentially. I think we do go with the Colts next. I think this will be really close. I think the winner of this division could have 9 wins, and that wouldn't shock me that much because the Texans are the front runner right now. They had a lot of roster improvement, but there's a lot of things that could go wrong in year 2. Sophomore slumps happen. There's nothing else needing to be said other than sophomore slumps happen. It's not that crazy of an idea. I think that's why we're going to put them second and the Jaguars first. This is predicated on what we see from the receiver group down in Jacksonville. That's Trevor Lawrence's big problem, in my opinion. This team has not given him very good wide receiver groups. Especially, Christian Kirk, the amount they paid him is not great. He is paid like a wide receiver 1 or was paid like a wide receiver 1, and he's a lower end wide receiver 2. It's just what it is. Brian Thomas Jr., I have hope that he maybe can turn out to be something, and if he does play out really well, that could be a big factor into why they're able to be a very good team this year. Texans are definitely going to be close. All of these teams could be very, very close. This team, the worst team could have 8 wins. I'm not going to be shocked by that in theory, but I do think the Texans have a struggle this year just because there's more film, and now there's a big target on their back, so it's going to be harder to win in general. We'll go to the AFC West this time, and, the Broncos, I think they're going to finish last in this division. Big shocker there. But I will say, I think Bo Nix could be decent. I think he could be very solid because he has a ton of experience already. That's a big part of it. Sean Payton's going to help. Bo Nix is he is a highly cerebral player. He can play before the play starts. He knows what a lot of it's going to happen because he has a high IQ. He just does as a player. That's going to be very helpful. And that can make them a very respectable 6 or 7 win team. if at best, really. The talent on this roster is not great. They have some weird receiver room that's just incredibly mediocre but deep. Obviously they have Patrick Surtain, but the rest of the defense ain't amazing. There's a lot of question marks here on this whole roster unit. And it's just not a lot to work with, to be quite honest. The Raiders will be 3. I know Raiders fans are going to be mad at that because they think that Malcolm Koonce is the next coming of basically Jesus Christ, and Max Crosby's great. I love Max Crosby. Malcolm Koonce is a young player who I think is really good, or could be really good, but we haven't seen enough from them yet. They're still the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell is not great. We'll just say that much. Could he improve? Absolutely. I think he will improve, but that still wouldn't be a whole lot. Gardner Minshew could be really solid, but at the same time, how long does that well have to run dry? And, he's not special. He's just decent. That's all he is. They're kind of limited comparatively to the other 2 teams in this division. So we're leaving them there. Then, I'm going to go with a Chargers finished second. It's hard to say anything else with the offense as bad as it looks. I mean, Quentin Johnston can't catch a pass even in training camp. Jamar Chase couldn't his rookie year either in his training camp. But maybe Quentin Johnston turns it around. Part of me wants to put them up front because of the John Harbaugh thing and just the ability that he would have to fix the Chargers makes a ton of sense. But once again, you're battling against Kansas City here. You can't really argue anything else. And finally, in this division, the Browns are going to finish last because they're the Browns, to be quite honest with you. There's not a lot there going for them in general. Oh, they have such a great roster. Yeah, in theory, they do. However, they don't really end up winning games when it really matters at all. They just don't. They get decent wins. Yeah, they might have a good win total, but a lot of them are just, some games they get by with. Yeah, I like their secondary a whole lot. I like, Myles Garrett is a great player. All this, that, and the third. But we've got to see them put it together. And, we've gotten a 2-time coach of the year. Congratulations. What has that gotten you? Hardly a playoff win? Cool. Now, we'll move on. I think next team will be... This division is, I said this division was hard. This division's even harder because legitimately these all could be 11-win teams. There's a real world for that to happen. In some way, I don't know if that's mathematically possible, but it sure does seem like it. I think we're gonna go here with the Ravens ending 3rd. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be quite as good as people think. Derrick Henry, he's old. Let's just be real. There's not been many running backs into their age 31 year now that really produced like that. And, I don't know how well that's going to work. I'm just very curious of that. Their receiver room, in my opinion, got worse this year. Zay Flowers looks solid, but not amazing. He's not necessarily, outstanding yet. He's a prospect we're still working on. Looks really solid so far. But just, their defense got substantially worse, losing a few guys, mainly Mike McDonald. I just don't know. I'm not really confident in that. Then I'll take the Steelers to be very, very close second. They were 10-7 last year with a national terrorist at quarterback, offensive coordinator, and center. I'm pretty sure that a better center, a better offensive coordinator by a long shot, and a better quarterback that's Russell Wilson. I'm not talking about Justin Fields. I'm pretty sure they're going to be a lot better. And then the Bengals, I think they have a revenge season. They do finish on top. However, I think playoff team-wise, obviously all the division winners get in. I think we see the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Texans get in. Or actually, maybe we'll go Steelers, Texans, Jets get in. I think that's what we're going to do. Chargers are the first team out by a last half game back, point differential, whatever. It's going to be troublesome for them. Once again, these are all predictions. I don't know what's going to happen. I could be very wrong. There's also a very high chance, not a high chance, a definite answer that somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody massive to their team will get hurt. For example, Joe Burrow got hurt last year and ruined his team playoff chances. Lamar Jackson get hurt. Mahomes could get hurt. We don't know. Something's going to change. You can't predict it perfectly. Let's continue. Let's start with the NFC East. Big division there. Definitely think the Commanders are going to be worse in this division. I'm not sold on Jaden Daniels. I think he has a lot of potential for sure, but the bonehead IQ he showed in college with some of the hits he decided to take, some of the throws he decided to make, and the ultimately getting bailed out by 2 incredible wide receivers multiple times in college aren't going to help him here. Because as good as Terry McLaurin is, as good as Jahan Dotson may be, they're not going to have the advantage over the corners, when those corners are going to graduate and go work at, some car dealership while these guys are going to the NFL. It's just not how it works. The Giants are going to be 3rd. This is going to be a close race for last. I think they're both going to be very bad. I think these might be the 1 and 2 picks this year's draft. I would not be that shocked if that happened. Simply because of Daniel Jones. I don't know why anybody thinks either of their rookies will be Offensive Rookie of the Year because Jaden Daniels, let's be real, bonehead decisions, terrible O-line, not the best play caller, not the best head coach. There's not a lot setting him up for success there. And also, Malik Neighbors, Daniel Jones. I don't need to say anything else. Moving on, the really big question here is who wins the division? And it's going to be Philly winning the division. I think they had a Super Bowl slump last year. Sure, they came off of a year where they made the Super Bowl, and they stunk last year. Let's just be real about it. But they got that chance to be humbled, and now they're going to go back with a better team, to be quite honest. I really like what they did in this offseason. Getting, Hassan Reddick, a guy who was becoming a little bit of a cancer, out of there. They bring in some edge rushers who are not as good on the field, but not bad necessarily. You're expecting big bumps from guys like Nolan Smith, even Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. And you bring in two really good rookie corners and Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell. I'm excited to see how that secondary looks for sure. Plus Saquon Barkley. Can't forget that. That's going to be a big reason. And personally, I wouldn't be too shocked, if the Cowboys ended up kind of having a rough year. And a rough year being they maybe get 9 or 10 wins, but not quite as good as you'd expect, really. Let's be honest. Going into the NFC South, you have the Falcons, Panthers, Saints, and Bucks. I want to say Saints end up fourth, and they fire Dennis Allen before the season even is over, probably halfway through the year. Dennis Allen, I don't mind the Saints roster. And, I'm a Derek Carr fan for the most part. He's played pretty bad last year, but maybe it was a new team. Maybe he had to figure some things out. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt to that much. It was his first year. He was with the Raiders for how long before that? Derek Carr was a good quarterback with the Raiders. Anyways, but Dennis Allen's a terrible head coach, and I think Saints fans will tell you that. Anyways, Panthers, they'll be third. I like what they got this year. I think it's better. Jonathan Brooks is, assuming he can be healthy, I really like Jonathan Brooks a whole lot. I think he could be the best running back from this class. The addition of Deontay Johnson will be huge for Bryce Young's development because of the style of receiver he is. Deontay Johnson's one of the most open wide receivers in the NFL. He's always open because he is such a shifty route runner. He's always open. That's a type of receiver that a guy like Bryce Young needs. A guy who can just, you know where he's at, and he's going to be open all the time, as long as he can catch the ball. But I will say, his drop things, that's far overblown. Anyways, now who wins the division? Falcons or Bucks? It's going to be very, 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 very close. I'm going to go with the Falcons winning. No, I'm not. I'm going to go with the Bucks winning. I think Baker Mayfield's really put himself up to be the quarterback of the future for this team. He's going to be there probably through the rest of his career, which could be another 8 years or so. Plus, minus, maybe. The Falcons, I think they'll be fine. Kirk Cousins will play the whole year. I don't think we see Penix play at all. But, I'm not really huge on Raheem Morris. I'm not sure that he's going to be amazing. Not the greatest head coaching tenure to his resume so far. We'll have to see. Then the NFC West. Sadly, the Cardinals are still going to finish fourth. Big shock, right? They just don't have a lot of talent. I love Kyler Murray. I love Marvin Harrison. I think Michael Wilson could be a really good number 2 to Marvin. I think Trey McBride could be really, really solid as well. But that's about it. End of list of their talent on their roster. I mean, James Conner's fine. Trey Benson could be really, really good. I do like him a lot too. But yeah, I mean, that's very limited. Their O-line defensive line is even worse. Linebackers aren't great. They have Budda Baker for now. I'm sure he'll ask out soon. But the Seahawks finished third. And honestly, the Seahawks could finish fourth here. Geno's already having some health issues. And I think there is definitely a world where we see Geno struggle so much that Sam Howell could play by the end of the year. I'm going to go on a limb and say that as a prediction. Sam Howell maybe takes over during this year because Geno, he had a good season 2 years ago. Last season wasn't amazing, and there's a reason he was a backup for 10 years. I think we might see that this year between his injuries, between him playing down, whatever it may be. I don't know. It's a very interesting situation for sure. The Rams will finish second. Niners finish first, but I definitely think the Niners could have an Eagles-like season this year like they did last year. Where they still get 11 wins or whatever it is, which is a good record, but they're not the same team. And they could keep Brandon Ayuk for all I care. It might still be a problem. I mean, they're just a team that they've gone so much, competed so much, and now there's always a drop back at some point. When is that going to be? Might be this year. I would not be shocked at all. Going to the NFC North, what do I want to do here? Last place, I'm going to have to say the Vikings. This could be a super competitive but not amazing division, kind of like the AFC South in a way, where the worst team has like a 7-8 win season and the best team has like a 10 win season. But the Vikings, their quarterback situation's confusing. Their defense ain't amazing. They keep losing corners for different reasons. It's just not a great situation. Then I'm going to go Bears, but I think the Bears are going to look promising. I think Caleb Williams will look fine, but my prediction for him specifically is he's going to come out and struggle early on. I think he's going to, week 1 through 5, might not look great. He's going to get a lot of hate, but I think then he's going to light it up, and he's going to, get settled in and really just tear it up and maybe even win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Then we're going to go with the Packers. I like Jordan Love, but also we've seen him play 9 games. The fact that he got paid what he did after 9 games is insane. Yeah, he played the whole season. Most of that wasn't amazing. I mean, let's be real. Between week 2 to week 10, it was not great. You can't say anything different. I think he could be really good. I also think that they paid him way too early. It's a big question mark in my opinion. Lions finish in first place. It's competitive though, very competitive. Packers are vying for that last spot till the last week of the season, and they get it. So obviously these guys go to the playoffs, and then I think we see the Rams, Packers, and maybe the Cowboys or Bears. I think Bears could do it. They could. Anyways, that is all of it for these predictions. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button. It does my channel a ton, and it doesn't cost you a single thing. Also, remember, check out w.gg or use the description link down below. And make sure let me know how you feel about these. Let me know what you think about some of these hot takes. Leave me a hot take down in the comments, and I'll do a hot takes video before this season gets started. Or check out my Twitter. It's Shredder, SHRD3R. Leave me a hot take there, and we'll get something going on that video. Either way, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.